What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into the 55th edition of the Tuesday Track Talk podcast featuring your Three Stones pit crew. I'm Kellen, your Jackman.
I'm your tire changer, Cam.
And I'm your gas man, Cam.
And we've got a pretty simple episode, I think, today. Pretty straightforward, but we're going to cover some absolute hammers of races and then take a look into what's ahead for the coming weekend. So had some really good racing this past weekend. Looking ahead to some really great racing coming up this weekend. But before we get too far into it, we finally are back together as the three of us. So
Yep.
how we been?
Good. Weather's been cooling down. I actually had to work on Sunday, so I didn't get to fully enjoy the weekend, but did get to listen to the NASCAR race at least. And went from there. Got some stuff moved around the garage, but pretty calm weekend otherwise.
Nice. Cam?
Yeah, not a whole lot. I just I'm enjoying this time of year because it's like this weekend when you driving around and you see the trees are changing colors and it's officially like that sweatshirt weather, and there's just good football on all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Just love this time of year. Racing is unfortunately wrapping up, but the stakes are getting higher and higher. So just low-key weekend.
Good.
So yeah, I
Well-
think we're getting more and more of those as the racing season is damn near done up here.
Yep. Yeah, we got our last big one for the year. We'll touch on that in our race previews as well. So, well, let's go ahead and jump into kind of our first. Usually this is where we stick some short race recaps. So let's go ahead and dive into kind of the closeout of the inaugural high limit sprint car season. So, they've wrapped up their first full-time season. Van Grohl, I'll kick this one to you, and kind of just let you start take the lead on this one here.
Yeah, so obviously before they went on this last little bit of a stretch here, Brad Sweet had already wrapped up the inaugural championship season for the drivers. So really the only thing that was left to claim was the midweek money series championship. And then just whatever money was up for grabs for the races that were on hand. And boy, did Brad Sweet pick a good time to just say, yep, already a champ, got nothing to lose, and just went on a tear, winning 3 out of the last 4 races on the year. So,
Wasn't without any question there. I saw he threw a bomb job this past weekend and completely wrecked McFadden. I don't know if you saw that. Just 3 and 4, throw a slider, and there's no shot. Completely wrecked. Of course, he comes out unscathed, and McFadden's on his dome, and his car is completely wrecked. But when it gets to championship season, it's hard to count out the old 49.
Oh, yeah.
And we mentioned it on the podcast before, and I'm looking at some stats here. His just overall consistency. So this is not including high limit. This is including some other races that he's ran, but in 69 races that he's ran so far this year, he's got 56 top 10s. I mean, just the model of consistency.
Yeah.
And ultimately, when Tyler Courtney's your next competitor, and he's got 49 top 10s, I mean, it's a big points difference.
Absolutely. That's yeah.
That courtesy of Master Gassers on the old X. Been a while since we mentioned them.
Yeah, because I'm actually looking at this. If you go on the High Limit website, you actually click on their points tab. You can actually look at earnings, which is a pretty cool thing to look at. And like the team that had the most earnings on the season, Rico Abreu Racing.
Yeah, he won some big money races at the end, towards the end.
Yeah. Casey Kane Racing 49. So Brad Sweet, Myers Construction. That would be a Brent Marks, I believe.
Mhm.
But yeah, Rico had $443,000 on the season. And then you go down to the midweek. Marks actually led the earnings there at 68.6, call it
Mhm.
68.7. Silva Motorsports at 62.
That Myers is actually probably Corey Day.
Yep, probably. Yeah. And then you go down like the midweek, Silva, Kane, Clausen, Brent Marks. Yep. So
Because I know he won a few of those midweek money races. That was the big money. So,
yeah,
yep, I
that
bet you that's
is
Brett Mark or not Brett Marks, Corey Day.
yeah, that is cool that they actually post the earnings too as well.
Mhm.
Let's they've pretty much taken the approach of let's just make this all public.
Yep.
Let's not hide anything. Here it is. So yeah, looking at that, Rico at 400 grand ain't a bad year.
No, not at all.
No, last point, just touch on that. I think, to your point, Brad Sweet being the model of consistency. He's just a veteran that he gets the most out of his car every single night, wherever he's at. And he's totally okay with it. If he's got a sixth place car, that's where he's going to finish. If he's got a car that he can only run, eighth, he'll finish eighth. If he's got a shot to win it, there's a good shot he'll win it. And
Yep.
just doesn't ever seem like we have a ton of self-inflicted Brad Sweet wounds. He just what he's got, and he makes the most of it, and just doesn't minimizes his mistakes.
Well, there's a reason he's a six consecutive national touring sprint car champion.
Yep.
There's a
Let's
reason he won 5 straight world ball titles and then came to high limit and said, I'll take your first one too.
I'm gonna just pose this question to you guys now that we wrap this season up. How do you guys feel about the series owner winning his own series?
I think the racing, at least the competition in it was good. But I think you look at, Zeb wise, you kind of figured obviously High Limit bought uh what was and it's
All-star.
All-Star. Yep, the All-Star Circuit of Champs. They bought what was that at the time, and Zeb Wise, who finished 14th in the standings, I believe. Gotta fact check myself there. But he even said in this at the awards banquet on Sunday night, which I gotta watch because it seemed like it was actually a pretty good time. That this is hands down some of the stiffest competition he's raced against.
Yep.
So, and you get guy like Rico Aber, first real full-time season racing with a series, was a true outlaw to a full-time season, kind
Mhm.
of figuring out the ropes of a season. So I don't know. It's not surprising, but I'm not. There's still a lot to dissect from it as well. I think you can't just say he took advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, did he take advantage of it? I don't know. It's hard to say how much. At the end of the day, he completely took advantage of the World of Outlaws for 5 consecutive years. Like, let's not hide the fact that he probably right now is the most consistent point racer in sprint car racing potentially ever,
Yep.
for sure in the last decade, because no one can sniff him for a title there. So I don't know. I feel like the reason I don't, the reason I really don't hate it is that he has the World of Outlaws titles to just go, well, I ran with them. I won them 5 consecutive years. What else do you want me to do? That's the part of it that I just, if he'd have come over and done this on a one off and like, oh, he'd just maybe go, say he goes on and struggles next year. That's his first ever title. Conversation might be a little different, I think, but looking at his track record, it's hard to just go, yeah, he really just cherry picked that one. you know?
Yeah.
And I was going to say, at the end of the day, you can say conflict of interest between owner and driver, but I think, Kellen and you guys both hit the nail on the head. Regardless of what series he's going to run, it doesn't matter what series it is. He's going to be right there for competing for a championship anyways. So it's
Well,
like, it's hard to
and one of
dispute anything he does.
yeah, and one of the things that I picked up when we were in Davenport for that rain hindered race, and Kellen, I think you can attest to this too, was that Brad, when we got that short conversation with Brad, he even was like, "Yeah, I'm going on Wilger to take a look at it," but he made it. The series director was running the series. He
Mhm.
just owns it.
Yep.
That's all it is. So
Yeah.
he's almost a driver first. I would even say he is a driver first, and then a series owner second.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
When we were there, he definitely had I'm going to go over there and watch them make this decision to make sure that I agree with it.
yep,
But he definitely had his driver hat on a majority of that too.
yep.
So, yeah. I
Um,
I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed that the inaugural season.
yep.
I think the production was top notch from Flow Racing. You knew you were going to have a good production in Flow. I do feel like the play by play and having Tony Laporta make some infield calls and doing some of the pre race stuff. I think that was an awesome move on their part. So, from a viewer production side of things, I was certainly pleased because you knew the product was going to be consistent every single time you turned on a race.
Yep, and I want
So,
to make sure I get the name right here. Yeah, yeah, Tony Laporta there in the pits, and then you had. Oh, let's see if I can find it. I'm trying to remember the announcer's name, and I can't for the life of me remember it. Watching, I'm probably not going to find it.
Chase Rodman.
Yes,
Yep. Just a quick Google and says Chase Rodman is the play-by-play announcer for Highland Racing.
yep, Chase Rodman. I think he did really good as well.
Yep.
Really stepped up the series. Um, I liked too that they went to other races that were already kind of big races on their own and made them even bigger with High Limit coming in and floor racing production and stuff like that. You just made a
Yep.
big race bigger on a regional basis.
Absolutely.
So that's what I liked out of it too.
Absolutely. I think that was um they kind of played into the hand of being able to use those races to their advantage as well.
Gold Cup, the Gold Cup out in Cali is a good example of it. They took
Mhm.
what was already a big race there and just made it bigger.
Yep, absolutely.
So, um, touching really quick on the weekend that was, Ryan Timms was contending for a win at Lucas Oil, but ends up with a fuel leak. Still ended up finishing in the top 10 of that race after storming back through the field. Um, Brent Marks was the final winner of the year, finally get back into victory lane ever since May, I think, if I remember right. Pocketed 25K for his win then. And then we talked about the midweek money series. Tyler Courtney ended up winning that by way of a second tiebreaker. They tied in points, they tied in wins in the midweek money series, so they had to go to the second place finishes to determine the tiebreaker.
Damn. That's how tight it was.
Yep.
Can't ask for much more coming down the stretch like that.
Nope. And like I said, they had their awards banquet on Sunday with High Limit posting clips, snippets of the drivers' speeches up on the podium here and there. So definitely
Mhm.
might be one if I could find. I'm gonna tune in.
Absolutely. So, no, I hats off to that whole crew. It's Flo obviously does a really good job as well. So
Yep.
playing into that hand worked out very well in their favor.
I think we're gonna have to also look at Tony Laporta's Twitter because he went off on a nice little way of summarizing the year and the things that he's done.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, cool. Wraps up High Limit for the first season. Sprint car racing is not quite done, but High Limit is wrapped up for their inaugural season.
and then they still got the 3 exhibition races in Perth, Australia.
Yeah, for sure. Those are sanctioned by High Limit as well. So, man, this next one, we do this every week. We get in there. We don't have it's the unnamed segment, I think is what it's going to have to be.
Yep.
Don't have a name, had a name, worked for a little bit, didn't like
Change it.
Yeah. So here we are. This is, again, this is going to be your a little bit shorter this week, but your racing information and breaking news and stuff that has gone on around the racing world. And we're going to cover a few little pieces here and there, but I'll jump in the first one. Bobby McCarty announces that he is departing RNS Race Cars after their 2-year tenure together. So, Cars Tour regular with RNS announcing that they're going there separate directions. So I'll be curious to see. He said his racing career is far from done. So I'll be curious to see where he lands for 2025. So we all know he's damn good enough to be around that Cars Tour. So he'll be there in some fashion. It's just a matter with who and when.
We got to remember that 22 is now open with Connor Hall jumping to Junior Motorsports. So,
yep, the old Nelson Motorsports crew.
I just don't remember what cars they run, but
yep. So, yeah. Second one, Cam, you want to grab that one?
Yeah, we touched on it here. Brad Sweet hit the old bomb job on him this week and gave him a nice goodbye as James McFadden announces his departure from full-time racing in the U.S. So was a guy who had a pretty solid year, to be honest with you. Ran up front a fair amount, snuck out a win here and there, and had a pretty solid year. So where's he headed back to? I forget.
Australia.
Australia.
It was well documented early in the year that one, he had problems getting over here, so he ended up joining the high limit season late. And then to his family had a hard time getting over here as well.
Yep.
I think he went like on 6 months without seeing his family.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of took a toll on him. And
yep. So
wanted to be with the family.
Yeah, can't blame the man. So
nope. I'm sure we'll see him in Perth when we just talked about high limit. I'm sure we'll see him there for that.
I was gonna say it won't take long to see some familiar faces in familiar places for him.
Yep.
Absolutely. You want the next one, or should I take this one, Van Grohl?
I could take this one.
Okay.
A little bit in surprising news, I would put this as Haley Deegan is going to be racing the IndyCar Next NXT series in 2025 in the 38 for HMD Motorsports. Kind of threw me off guard with that one.
Completely left stock car racing.
Yep.
Completely stepped away from stock car racing collectively, or I should say NASCAR stock car racing,
and that's even a different discipline compared to obviously stock car racing, the truck series and Xfinity series, but also from her. Oh, I'm going to get this wrong. The sport trucks, the dirt trucks from way back when, from a handful of years ago too.
She's even here and there kind of flirted with a few races at Millbridge.
Yep.
She's
Which
done
I would
a
have,
little bit of
and I would
that.
have, and I would have thought even hitting like a midget series season type of
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah, this one was that came out of left field with that decision to head to that style of racing as compared to what she has a history with.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Time will tell what comes of that situation.
And if I remember right, there is no Ford backing there, so she's pretty much off of the Ford program then
Yep.
as well.
Yeah.
Do you want the honest thoughts?
Let's you're a little rough around the edges. Let's hear it.
You brought it up.
The only thing that's going to come with a move like that is a lot of smashed up equipment.
I,
I
I'm
mean,
not disagreeing with you.
you went from you
I
went
was
from
gonna go look and see how many DNFs she had in the Xfinity. I can
I
see
mean,
him
so
right off.
so let's just talk about this. I mean, you go from stock car racing to where you can smash a little stuff up and keep going to an IndyCar series where you touch your wheel to somebody else's wheel or whatever. I mean, every bit of damage in any sort of open wheel racing is amplified. So that makes your room for error even smaller. And I don't know. She's not Kyle Larson like, so I don't know.
10
I
of your
guess
14, 10 of your 14 races are on road courses. Just throwing that out there.
in so I guess like I don't know. I think it comes from a vote of confidence. I've watched her in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series these last couple of years, and she hasn't been able to muster up really anything, to be honest with you. And so I guess I just don't have a load of confidence. Like I don't look at her and be like, yeah, you want to know what? You got the job done in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. Like I think you can go, to do something like this and get the job done. Then just the confidence that that I have is just not. It's not there.
One
Her,
thing
but
I was going to say, just one thing that popped up literally right here as I was sitting here is, like I said, it's only a 14-week schedule. So you go from March 2nd to May 4th, from race one to race two. You have 2 months of no racing for that series. What do you do to fill your time? Like that's what I'm curious on too. Like May is pretty beginning of May is pretty heavy. Then you go from May 10th to June 1st. You go from
She's gonna try to find a ride here and there in NASCAR series.
I don't know, but it's just there's down periods type of thing. And even then their season's done August 31st. So now you have, I mean, Christ, we're what, 2 months past that already? Yeah, we're 2 months past that. What do you do? What do you do? What else do you do? So that's my thought with
so
it.
as I'm looking at, I don't. This is from ESPN, so this is their statistics. Her truck career from 2021 to 2023, so three full racing seasons. She accumulated five top tens and led two laps with an average finish of 21st, 22nd, and 21st. So those are her truck series statistics. And then her Xfinity series, she only got 17 races. And she had zero wins, poles, top fives, top tens, or laps led with an average start of 29 and an average finish of 27. So she had one start in 2022. She finished 13th. She had started 20th, finished 13th. made all 100 laps. So, yeah, very, very interesting move to say the least. So, I guess we'll see how that plays out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last one. Kind of in the rumbling, I guess, of the NASCAR garage, I would say.
Very recent breaking news.
It's kind of coming out as of today a little bit, Monday here, the 14th. There's been some engineer or a team engineer that's been accused of selling information to a rival team, according to the Associated Press. So apparently there's been a little grumbling of some data being transferred to another team. So
The official wording, Cup Series team access proprietary information and shared it with another team.
yeah,
Was the official wording of it. No real rumblings as far as teams, maybe Joe Gibbs, but no information as far as who is on the receiving end of it. And
Come
NASCAR
on, let's
is
speculate. That's what we speculate and throw out some rumors on who's on the receiving end. That's what we do best.
well, so I'll start with this, then I'll let you guys throw out the speculations on two things. One, NASCAR has acknowledged it, but they are not releasing details until either a lawsuit is filed or a complaint is lodged with NASCAR on behalf of both teams. And then two, Ty Gibbs made a comment, I don't remember when, about a certain team that got very good at a coincidental point in time.
It's not Martin Truex because he wasn't good at all. Gibbs is
And they're
making
on
the
the same
comment.
team.
so they Gibbs.
Wait, you're saying the Gibbs team got better or the other team got better?
The other team got better.
You mean the fact that the 3-car was going to win the Richmond race to lock himself into the playoffs?
At least in the comment section. We know how
It's the most
trivial and tumultuous that could be.
dude. That's the best place to be on social media is in the comments section.
A lot of RCR, a little bit of 2311. There was a few different teams in the comment section there. We'll just say that. So I'm sure we will hear more when the time comes for it, but not another good look for anybody.
Correct.
And quite frankly, that kind of puts that said engineer in a situation where you may no longer be in NASCAR.
Yeah, the NASCAR sanctioned body is going to come down on him with a hammer when they find out what's going on.
Teams will just put him on a blacklist of, yeah, we're going to go a different direction.
Yeah, we're not going to hire you if you fit our openings.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Yikes. Stay tuned for that. We're in a rough spot right now.
And we should be talking about championship season.
Correct. All right. Well, speaking of championship season, race 9 of 10 for the Stars National Tour this previous weekend for the Winchester 400 at Winchester Speedway. Man, quite the show. I guess the word I would use to describe this one is you got to be there at the end. I don't know. Survival.
It's a long race.
Survival.
It's a very long race. Yeah.
Yeah, that race is it. As it states, the Winchester 400 is 400 laps. In just that survival was the name of the game. I mean, right away early, you got someone like Stephen Hasse who's got rear end issues. He's done early. He was up front going to be a favorite. to win that race. So he has rear end issues. Actually, that's what they kind of wonder a little bit. I mean, Hind kind of got lifted a little bit by Bichelle. Maybe there was a little fluid from that rear end because they did bring cars down the pit road to check if there was a leak. I know they brought Majeski down. They had like 3 cars that they brought down to check, but ultimately like 3 or 4 laps later, that's when kind of the big one for Winchester, I guess you would say, basically happened. He had 7 cars get collected into one in one. And that just kind of took out a fair amount of fast race cars when you're talking Albert Francis, Michael Hine, Jonathan Nee, Dawson Sutton, Gavin Bichelle, Jake Garcia, and then Bearden was also collected in that one too. So just kind of looked. I don't know if Hine didn't get going or if he had. I think he kind of said he had an issue. But you like row 3, row 2, row 3 is kind of like the deal at lacrosse.
Yeah.
It's kind of got lifted up. You saw the car go around, and you knew everyone else behind was kind of along for the ride. So, then from there, just a little bit. We went on some runs, but then you just had mechanical gremlins kind of take a few cars out. Roderick under the red to clean that up has ignition issues, so he goes like 3 laps down. They get back going green. Nason has a oil issue, oil leak, oil fire. He ends up going a whole bunch of laps down. He actually got back on track, so that car made it back. Majeski has plug wire issues, so he was running on 7, which was not obvious on the long run, late with the tires, but once they bolted fresh rubber on, he was in trouble. Nason and Majeski get together. It was kind of interesting because like Nason was kind of coming down and Majeski was also kind of coming down. So I kind of wonder if Nason was going to give him the top. Just kind of one of those deals where it was a right front to a left rear. So I don't know, or maybe it was just Nason wanted to move over for him, but ultimately turns Majeski around. But at that point, there was only 4 cars on the lead lap. So Majeski going to the rear.
Yeah.
Back to 4th. 57 to go. Gio Ruggiero's leading that race. He blows up. So that's the day for him. Majeski kind of squeezed Van Meter a little bit. He got in the wall fairly hard. Stayed in it, and then 2, 3, 4 laps later, that right front came apart, and that car was junk. So, I was surprised he stayed out, but that tore that car apart.
That's one of those things too that you're so late in the race, you just kind of hope.
Yep.
Type of thing, ride it out.
You're hoping to hold on. So, unfortunately for Van Meter, I mean, ultimately, 8 cars finished the race.
Which, obviously, the big wreck had something to do with it. But
Yeah.
it was a 21 car field to start with.
Yep.
And it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about these car counts.
What do you mean you don't know how you feel?
It's
21?
For an ASA Stars National race, the Winchester 400, and you got 21 cars.
Yeah. Don't mince your words.
I don't think it's good.
No, it's not.
And we've talked about this before, and I think you're still seeing it. You're not getting the local talent coming into the race.
Yep.
Get those cuss words out that you were showing us before the podcast started.
Well,
I'm not as riled up, but it's just it's disappointing almost at this rate.
Yeah.
And
some of these races are just
and we talked about and I'm going to bring this up because we brought it up in a group chat. Majeski had some words to say in a post-race interview about the sanctioning body.
Yep.
Particularly on the engine side of things, and says you're not going to see me in my equipment until ASA does something.
Yep.
Which, of note, he was in Michael Hines equipment, so that's clears the air there. But when you have your defending ASA Stars champ saying, "Yeah, I'm not going to race because this just isn't right,"
Yeah.
and you take out, I know Nason's in there, but you take out the other representation of the Midwest. It's is this the Southern Super Series 2.0?
I
I
mean, Nason is the only representation we have outside of Majeski running this one. This is only his
and
second
even
stars
then,
race.
Nason isn't even running a whole lot of Midwest races.
No, he's not. He's gone to the national tour thing, and which good for him. I'm happy he
Absolutely.
can do that. I love that for him, but that takes him away from us up here.
And then you have Bubba Pollard dip out in the middle of the season.
Literally, well, in the middle of a weekend.
Yep.
He was up here for Madison on Friday. It was so bad he pulled off and then didn't even go to Milwaukee. He just went home.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
So you guys know this asphalt A model side better than I do, but you're seeing these car counts like this. Is there a clear cut solution, or what is the solution to what is causing this, and where do we go from here?
Well, so I want to bring up another point here. I'm looking at the owners championship, which is where the money's at. That's how the money gets rewarded to the teams is by the owners championship. They used to have what the hell is the word I'm looking for? A way to mark out who's on what program. They're on top tier program, they're on secondary program, they're not on any program. That's not on here anymore. But to
Yep.
that point, I think there's only, and if I'm looking at this right, there's only 8 cars that were, yeah, 8 cars that were a part of the program. Which actually no, because Wilson didn't bring their 24 car this weekend, I think.
No, they did. Bushell drove it.
Well, so I don't know.
Well, here, so I'm going to go with that. Yep. Here's my two. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong to think these two things. One, I think the rules package being different. We've seen it up here. We have guys that have vocally said, I'm not running stars if they come up here because I'm not monkeying with that.
And you've seen the Midwest Tour say, yeah, none of our races are going to be a part of your schedule.
Correct. So you've obviously, as you know, when we talked about this, that was part of the big thing when this tour was put together. You're gonna have Southern Super Series race. You're gonna have a Midwest Tour race or two, and then you might have a Jegs race or two. That was gonna make
The
these
schedule.
series are gonna have rules, and we're gonna go from series to series to series, and we're gonna have the best race against the best. That didn't. It hasn't shaken out the way they anticipated. So I don't know. That part to me, I think the rules difference in I think the rules difference also plays into my second point. So I'm looking at the entry form for the All American 400. I just want to think about this before. This is before you even get in the door. The race format is a 14 tire race, 10 tires in the 4 marked practice tires. They're ST3s and ST1s. You have a Sunoco 110 race fuel with a 30-gallon minimum purchase. That's before you even start the race. That doesn't count getting your guys into the pits. It doesn't count getting your car there. So the entry fee, the entry fee is $200 to put the car in. So when you look at your pay scale, to win the All American 400, you're going to go 15,000, 7,500, $5,000, 3,500, 2,300. By the time you get to sixth, we're down to $2,200.
And there's no way 14 tires are covered by $2,200.
Absolutely not. That doesn't even count the fucking 30-gallon, excuse my language, the 30-gallon minimum fuel purchase.
Or
yeah, there's $1,000 for the pole. There's $1,000 for stage 1 and stage 2 winners, but that's if you literally run a perfect race.
Yeah.
I understand there's a lot of contingency money here, but you're not going to get. These contingencies are set up to go throughout the field. Like,
yeah,
if you get the hard luck award, most likely you didn't finish, and that $150 certificate ain't. Not that I'm not appreciative, but like Gio got the hard luck award from Sunday. Well, they're putting a new motor in that car. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Now, are they going to the crown jewels of racing? Yes, they are.
Yeah. Yep. But on the opposite side of high limit here, are we hurting these crown jewels?
Yes.
I just. And the other thing too is, and I don't know about you guys, but how talking about TV and all that, how easily accessible is this to get on TV?
Not that easy.
Like that's.
Yeah. Yep. That's another very valid argument.
Couple drivers that weren't there. Matt Craig, Jet Nolan, couple guys that I kind of thought would have been there. Jake Finch.
Yep.
Guy that could have been there. And I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what to think.
Me either.
It's a dirty shame. That's what it is.
Yep. Yeah. I'm looking to see if you can get tickets on this. You'll ticket us here.
While you're looking that up, there was a race. So we'll touch on the top 10 here real quick. Cole Butcher back at his first Stars Tour race. Wins it. Majeski ends up storming back to second. Steckley third. Pinsonet?
Pincinel. Chase Pincinel driving for Carson Hocevar.
Yep. Fourth. Casey Roderick fifth. Chris Shannon sixth. Gavin Boschel seventh. Austin Nason eighth. Billy Van Meter ninth. And Gio Ruggiero 10th. This is how we played out.
Correct. Did not finish.
Who did not finish? We did not finish up to 9th.
Yep.
And actually, we had a Casey Roderick who actually had an accident and still finished 5th. 7 laps down. We had 4 cars on the lead lap.
Yep. Yeah, when Majeski was lapping cars around, he literally was lapping
the field.
He had lapped up to 3rd. So
that's what I got.
Yep. So I know it's just for an event like that that's been so renowned for that, it's hard to just see. When you look at the race, you have 4 cars on the lead lap. 8 cars to finish.
And a 21 car field.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know what's next. That's the hard part.
Yep.
Yeah.
That ain't good, boys.
We'll see what comes of it when they put out their 2025 schedule. That could very well shake things up with the schedule, but we'll see.
Not super well versed in that asphalt super late model, but even I can tell you that those numbers ain't good.
Right. So, well, we don't have any final thoughts. We might as well jump over to a race that we know had 39 cars. Oh, and we head to the Charlotte Roval for the elimination race. Where do we even start?
Oh,
I think we start at the finish with the DQ.
you're really jumping here.
You want to go back?
Sorry.
You want to go back, huh?
Well,
Jesus.
I was just thinking we're on this train of we talk about Majeski, who was barking post race. Sorry. No,
Well,
let's
but to
start
that
from the
point,
beginning.
you have guys that are going for points, and you got a lot of stage racing going on, and you have different things going on throughout that race too. And it was a lot of green flag runs. There weren't very many yellows in that race.
No, not at all. There's a lot of actually green flag stops.
Yep.
And the guys that did get turned around, to their unfortunate luck, there were no yellows really.
Yeah.
Austin Dillon gets housed.
Shane Van Gisbergen got spun at one point in time.
It just
Kozlowski got spun once. You had to pile up with Nemechek and Jones at one point in time.
Bowman bomb voyage through the through the
He got some air.
he went bomb voyaging through those. They said they were rumble strips, but that car was three feet off the ground.
Did you see the video? I think NASCAR Chasm posted it of like you've seen the videos of like Red Bull where they'll take cars and jump them across rivers and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was Alex Bowman going
That
through
was
the.
Bowman, yeah.
Do you
Oh
want me
God!
to that Turtle brings up probably arguably my favorite road course memory in NASCAR history. I think
The first year. Yep.
2021 or 2022 at the Indy Road Course when they had a turtle on the backstretch and it was just kept getting peeled up and up and up. And I think Slowy Logano was the first one to hit it and tore it up and just fucking wrecked the entire field.
Yeah, tore the radiator out of the thing and just sprinkled the track with water. It just said, "Good luck, everybody."
Byron was
The
in
best
that.
part-
Oh, that
best
was
part-
nice.
yeah, and the best part was he was the first one to go through the section too. So just
I just
wrecked it for everybody.
I just remember listening to the radio call of it, and you just hear car in the wall, another one in the wall, another one in
Yep.
the wall.
They had no idea what was going on. It was so
Cameraman's
confusing.
trying to like capture everything and doesn't know where to look.
Yep.
But no, that Bowman, oh my dude.
Yeah.
Buddy
I'm
rung his
surprised he
bell.
didn't smoke the wall after that too, because he got
Bombing through there.
gave himself
I
didn't have to
mean,
worry about a concussion there. He gave himself a concussion during that
yeah,
one.
I mean that was no different than that Tyler Reddick found himself 3 feet off the ground too.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Bowman
he
might have
climbed a tire
injured
to
his
do
back.
that.
But still, like he found himself 3 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. What I do have to say, the guys that needed points early in the race got points when they needed them.
Yep.
Cindric and Logano and some of those guys were right around the cut line. They did a really good job of putting
And
themselves in a really good situation.
and Bowman, which I even got a point on that once we make our other point on Bowman.
I will say one thing I do like about playoffs, especially, and not that it gets lost in the regular season, but just the stage point racing is just like it's amplified. Like guys are not like you can clearly tell, like clear as day, these guys are racing for every single point. And not to say that they're not throughout the year, but sometimes you go to a Kansas, a Las Vegas, and it's like earlier in the year, it's like, all right, yep, we're racing for stage points, but wherever we finish, we finish. And it's like, no, when you get to this time of year, it's like, dude, these points,
Mm.
every single one of them matters.
I think this keeps crew chiefs up at night.
Yep.
How am I going to get stage points and still come out with a good finish?
Yep.
Yep.
It keeps
'Cause
crew chiefs up at night.
you can't flip stages.
No.
Like Logano, his hands were tied the entire day. He had to stay out because he had track position.
Yep.
He didn't have.
Or you
He
get
didn't have.
guys like
Didn't have a
like
damn choice.
and like SVG and Dinger, they're like, we're not racing for points, we're going for the win.
Yep.
So it's just man. One of the other points here, and you talked about Reddick just getting some air. He hit the old boss man to do that too.
Yeah. Tried to take out the old Denny Hamlin in the process.
Hamlin comes over, hey, you little shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked quite the move. He went rolling down into the old U-turn there and he housed out his boss.
But to that, but that brought up one of the great stories for in the race itself was, he had to go into pit, had to change that toll link when they finally got that chance under the caution, and you just got to see him storm back up through the field.
Yep.
Try and keep his playoff hopes alive as the regular season champion, who this was uncharted territory too, as far as having a regular season champion not make the round of 8, almost not make the round of 8.
Right. Absolutely.
So you had an amazing storyline in that. Obviously, you had the race itself, which excuse me, you could debate whether it was another not snooze fest, but just took everybody out back by Larson.
Yeah, let's see what our good friend Jeff Gluck had to say about this race in the poll.
Which, by the way, Larson led 62 laps of the. God damn it! How many laps were there?
109.
109. So yeah, it just.
Okay, so here's a question. 10 hours ago, he posted a poll by special request from some of you in the mentions this morning. Would you prefer the Charlotte playoff race to be, and then he set up a poll, the Roval or the Oval? And on 18,500 votes, the Oval is ahead 75-25.
The Roval or the circle track?
Circle track is ahead 75-25. When you go down to his was the Roval a good race poll, that one had a resounding 55 yes, 45 no on 18,360 votes. So there's 200 votes difference in the polls.
Is this a product of having the wrong car for the wrong type of race? Because I think the Xfinity race was amazing.
Of course it is. That Xfinity car is produced week
beyond the circumstances around the finish of that one. But I think the Xfinity race was a damn good race.
That's just been the Xfinity series week in and week out. That car produces great racing.
And how many times it's been said that the Xfinity car should be the Cup car?
I mean, this Matchbox car that we're racing with these guys, like, where do you even go? Horsepower, tires, aero, underbody, diffuser.
No wonder why teams are selling information.
No shit.
Whoa.
Oh, no shit. You know what I mean? I'll trade you my diffuser for your whatever package. I'll sell you what we're doing here. Like, well, because no one can. I don't know. I thought this new next gen car was decent when it came out. The longer it goes on, the more. In CW, if you're listening, the hell with you. I can't watch the Xfinity series anymore. The hell with you. Give me the Xfinity car.
We might have to venture some options there.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to do it in a way that I don't want to have to do it. But give me the Xfinity car in the Cup Series. Or go back to the Gen 6. I texted Cam on Sunday. Go back to the Gen 6 when guys were accidentally pulling out side skirts to make downforce.
Shit, give me the Gen 4 car when we were having Twisted Sisters. Before the
Whatever.
race cars.
See, and here's the most frustrating part too that when me and Cal were texting about this weekend is there's no solution. We're literally we're building this plane and flying it at the same time as one would say this is what you call a science experiment. Every week we're messing with something to try to help this, that, the other thing, tires, horsepower. We're messing with something every single week. It's like this is an experiment. Like we have no solution on how to make stuff better.
No. Spin the wheel. What are we going to change this week? We're going to take the underbody off, or are we going to increase horsepower or change the diffuser, or I don't know. Let's go back to the same aero package, the same tires, the same everything. Let's go back to just changing the spoiler.
Yeah.
Go back to the Gen 6 car when you had a 2-inch spoiler and a 4 or a 6-inch spoiler. I don't know what it was. Go back to that. Go back to the racing product being great with a simple solution. I haven't loved the single lug nut either, if I'm being honest. I haven't had a care for that from the moment I saw the thing unveiled. Go back, give me the 5 lugs. Go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. The more I look at it, it's too sports car-y for me.
I think it's a better road course car.
Yeah.
I think it helps.
But did you also notice a very great portion of the schedule next year is on tracks that are 1 mile or less?
Yep.
So how are we going to fix the short track package that we've been screaming about for months
Couple
now?
years.
Yeah, call it years. So I only feel like that short track package only has been exacerbated in the last year.
Yep.
Like last year, the Martinsville playoff race, he had what, the least amount of passes in a race in Martinsville in ages? Like,
yeah. And remind me on this. When did we start doing sticky stuff on the tracks? Did we do this before next gen or after next gen?
No. We did a little bit, but it wasn't like we are now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe let's talk about this too then. Maybe that's the reason Bowman got this cute. He went Baja and threw the turtles, but like, I mean, that they're looking at that video from the 34's in car going, Hendrick might use this as an appeal. You can see the car bounce off the ground and you can hear McDowell run something over.
So somebody posted something. This is not a reliable source, so take it for what you feel like it's worth. But somebody just kind of randomly posted something about a alloy tungsten cube, 4x4 cube, weighs 41 pounds.
Okay.
And take that for what you feel like it's worth. But Brad Moran said they give teams about I forget what the percentage is, but it was like 17 pounds, a 17-pound leeway when it comes to weight. And obviously Bowman was lighter than that 17 said pounds. So you're talking something heavy enough to warrant it. And the fact that Hendrick is not appealing it makes you wonder if, yep, we know we did something wrong. Or like I kind of mentioned before too, it's you've got 3 cars in the playoffs, so let's just focus on them.
Here's a question. You guys ready for a conspiracy theory?
Oh, God.
What if Mr. H just willingly said, yep, we're not going to appeal it because he's got Justin Haley waiting in the wing? And he can say, yep, Bowman, you were the one guy that didn't make it to the round of 8. I'll give you one more year.
No. Don't do that.
I'm not going that far yet.
Don't do that. Jesus Christ.
Just had to throw it out there because I saw it again this weekend.
The question is,
Haley rumored to the 48 after 20 and starting in 2026.
So the question becomes: is that car obviously went through tech to get on track.
Yep.
The car obviously came off the track, was not. Now, going through the technical inspection side of thing, they gave the team every right to get that thing right. They let them refuel the car, they let them cycle the water, and they even gave them 2 shots to rescale that car after refueling and putting water in it.
Make sure the fuel lines were full and the water lines were
They gave them
full.
a chance to cycle everything.
Yep.
They did everything they could to let that car get through. So whatever they did, I don't know.
One of the points I want to make here is Pete Pistone came out and said, honestly feel terrible for Bowman. Started the playoffs at media day, fending off unsubstantiated, unnecessary rumors about his ride at Hendrick. So Cam, kind of talking about you.
Yep.
And then went out and put together, honestly, 2 of the most solid rounds of playoff racing out there. And then got DQ'd and is out of the postseason.
Yeah. It's been a tough go of it for him.
So just tough deal. But it's one of those things too, like it's black and white. If you don't meet weight, you don't meet weight. It's black and white.
Yeah, that's not one that, the body panels weren't in the sun, so you got to fit it the template and then it did or didn't. And it's either you're heavy enough or you're not.
Yep.
It's like you look at these cars, a lot of these cars that are around here, it's 2350. You're either 2350 or you ain't.
Yep.
So,
And that's the same of every race. It's not like it's only Roval specific or anything like that. Nope. That is a all year, every race.
yeah. I know racing product itself, enjoyed it.
Didn't think it was bad.
No, I didn't think it was a bad race. It
I think
wasn't
it was another case of Larson stunk up the show.
wasn't one of those knock the doors down that I'm ready to watch that again right now on YouTube, but I don't know.
Quickly, what do you guys think of the new Roval layout?
I liked it.
I think the U-turn added to the racing.
And the tighter chicane made things more interesting. A guy's trying to cut it and then making them pay to go over the turtles.
Yep.
With curbing.
No, I think the layout was good.
Yeah, I like the layout.
I don't think it's a bad track. I hate that bringing up the going back to the oval as a part of the discussion. It's just, do we need another 1.5 mile racetrack on the schedule?
I don't know. As Denny Hamlin says, the real racing starts next week. Take it for what you believe it's worth, or however you want to put.
I also say the best drivers are diverse.
Correct. You got to get through these rounds to be a champ, anyways.
Yep.
I don't know.
You got to be good at all disciplines.
Yep.
So I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, all right. Racing product was decent. I don't know. Got a little sidetracked on the old next gen, but
let's touch on top 10 here real quick.
Yep.
Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, good running. William Byron, Austin Cindric fought for his life. Can't doubt him there. Chase Elliott, AJ Allmendinger, Shane Van Gisbergen, Colleague coming up big on road courses like they typically do. Joey Logano gets himself back into the playoffs via the DQ. Bubba Wallace, Quiet Day, and Ryan Blaney in top 10.
Yep. Guys you would expect to be there or have to be there. Again, kind of trapped based on strategies. So I don't know. Decent race. Didn't fall in love with it. Wasn't terrible. I don't know. That's where I'm at.
Fair enough.
So any final thoughts?
Want to touch on other winners from the weekend?
Yeah, we're gonna run through some other winners really quick. Let's go ahead and pull the schedule up. All right, so right away talking about high limit, as we had mentioned, Brad Sweet won 1, 2, 3,
Some of these were
4.
combined with the Power Eye Sprint cars, so that's co-sanctioned race, I guess you could say.
Yeah, three,
Three
one,
races.
two, three races. Oh, he absolutely killed the weekend. USAC Amsoil Sprint Cars at Lawrenceburg was Briggs Danner. You had the American Canadian Tour at Thompson with Tom Carey the third. Cars Tour late model stock cars, you had Connor Jones, and then the Pro Lates you had Caden Honeycutt.
Connor, the late models had a little bit of a fun night, seeing who was running out of gas and who wouldn't.
Yeah, there's a little grumbling about that too. IMSA Weather Tech, you had the '01 Cadillac racing car. Brownstown Speedway for the Jackson 100 for Lucas Oil, and we'll touch on their points here in a second. Mike Marler cashes that payday. Xfinity Series at the Roval was Sam Mayer, goes back to back in that event.
I'm
Past Super Lates at Thompson, DJ Shaw.
feel bad for Kligerman in the Xfinity race.
Yeah, he got the short end of the stick there. World of All Sprint Cars at Lincoln. Donnie Schatz. XR Super Series at Kokomo, Mike Spatola. Obviously, Winchester 400, we talked about Cole Butcher, Larson winning the Roval, and then the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour at Thompson. Justin Bonsignor gets her done. So, those are the previous weekend's winners. Let's go ahead and jump into some race previews. Van Grohl, I'll kick you this first one.
Been a while since we talked about Cam. What do you call this again?
G1.
G1. Got it. The Formula, as I say, Formula One racing in Austin at the Circuit of the Americas for the second U.S. Grand Prix of the season. I want to bring this up just because it's the championship battle is getting pretty interesting. So Max Verstappen was last year's winner of this race, but he hasn't won since June this year. I don't remember the amount of races it was, but so Verstappen is still P1 in points. Lando Norris is back by 52, and Charles Leclerc is back by 86. McLaren has jumped Red Bull in the lead for the all-important Constructors' Championship with fantastic efforts as of late by Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. Ferrari is not too far behind Red Bull in the championship standings. The Constructors' Championships, just like NASCAR or the SA, that's where the money is. So winning the Constructors' Championship is huge. 6 races left in their schedule with a trip to Vegas for their third U.S. race on the year. So as season winds down for there, it's getting to be a close points battle. So keep an eye on that.
Sweet.
I'll assume I'll hop into race preview 2 here. The big show, the finale, Dirt Track World Championships at Eldora for the Lucas Oil Late Model Series. So 3 nights of racing. Thursday, we got heats and qualifying, and then Friday heats and qualifying, and then Saturday we'll run a B main and 100K to win for the Dirt Track World Championship. So we will crown a Lucas Oil champion on Saturday evening in the big show. And as the points sit right now, we got RTJ as your points leader. JD's back 50, Moran is back 50, and T-Max back 165. So last shot to get the job done. Lucas Oil is going to wrap their season up this weekend at the Dirt Track World Championships at Eldora. Be sure to tune in. It's going to be one last hoorah for them boys, and it's going to be fun. I don't know if you guys remember last year, but it was Eldora those boys were bajaing around Eldora. It got with rain, and then I don't know if it's rain or what it was, but it was a Sunday night race, and that B-Shep ended up winning it, but it was the bumps in that place were wicked. So
won that race. won that race running out of fuel as he crossed the finish line.
Yep.
Yeah, and running right through those bumps, and yeah, so it'll be a good weekend for those boys. Racing starts on Thursday night, and crowning a champion and giving out a 100K check on Saturday evening.
Kind of the final race recap for today outside of the Cup Series. As we have the Alive for 5 season race number 5 with the following 150 at Dells Raceway Park. That points battle is pretty awesome, actually. So, when we look at that, that is kind of the big last super late model race up here. Well, it is the last super late model race up here. In terms of the Wisconsin season. But you have Casey Johnson, your point leader. Gabe Summers is 3 points back. Ty Fredrickson is 4 points back. And then you have Ryan Farrell 20 back. So you got 3 hammers at Dells Raceway Park all lined up waiting to get a shot at that title. So we do not have a entry list just yet. They did just post the schedule. So we'll be racing at 2:00 on Saturday. But some of the guys that you could expect to be there: Ryan Farrell, Ty Fredrickson, Gabe Summers, Casey Johnson. I see Derek Lemke is also thrown around that he will be there. So I would expect that to be a pretty stout field of cars for Saturday. I will be at that one as well.
All right.
Last big one, going to go brave the cold. I froze last year at this one.
Yep.
So, all right, Cam, other races.
And this list is getting shorter and shorter by the week. So looking at probably about 10 races here. Yeah, I know.
Yep.
But yeah, short weekend of racing, but stakes are higher than ever. So Cars Tour Pro Late Models, North Wilkesboro. As I already mentioned, Lucas Oil Dirt Late Models for the 44th annual Dirt Track World Championships will be at Eldora Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. World Outlaw Sprint Cars, the Dirt Oval at Route 66. Kellen just touched on the Alive for 5 super late models at Dells Raceway Park. Cars Tour Late Model Stock Cars joining the party at North Wilkesboro. Touched on Lucas Oil. NASCAR Xfinity Series heads out west to Las Vegas. Past super late models at Oxford Plains Speedway, USAC Silver Crown, Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park for Championship Saturday. World Outlaw Sprint, again, as 2-day show there at the Dirt Oval at Route 66. We touched on G1 at Austin, and then NASCAR Cup Series at Las Vegas for the South Point 400. And again, joining the party at North Wilkesboro is going to be the NASCAR Whelen Modified. So, yeah, as you can see, the racing schedule is winding down, but the checks are getting bigger.
I will be boots on the ground for the race at Vegas as well.
When did you make that decision?
Yeah, a handful of weeks ago. Well, not even a few months ago. Go see some sights and sounds of Vegas. We're gonna hit the race up while we're there.
Who's on the tour with you?
A few coworkers of mine. Taking one of them to his first NASCAR race too.
You do a little gambling or no?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'll put a few bets down on the race here too. Maybe make a championship pick.
How many G's do we have allotted to gambling for the trip?
Undetermined yet.
Oh, perfect.
Undetermined. Although I don't know if I want to be gambling too much, especially with the streak that I've been on here with fantasy as of late.
Oh yeah, I would put those odds in there.
So we have a new point leader in the playoffs. Kellen has leapfrogged me in the playoffs. He's currently at 1150. I am back at 1102. Cam, you're kind of slowly gaining ground. You're at 1076. Sophie's Pit Picks 1032. Gasman's Girls at a straight 1,000. And then Dietz is at 966. We kind of dropped the ball and did not reach out to you, Cam, to get a race pick last week. So we kind of
That's
nullified.
my points.
I was going to say, I just nullified. I'm not going to update them. So we'll just reset basically. For Vegas race picks, we'll stick with the same pick in order, which means Kellen gets to go first.
Byron.
GB Larson.
Jesus.
Give me Hamlin.
I think that's the quickest we've gone through this.
Yep.
And I'm just going to go out on a whim right now. I was thinking about this yesterday. I think the old DH11 is playing chess and everybody else is playing checkers. When he said last week or 2 weeks ago, when he said, yeah, mentally I'm just not in it. And then he got repped and Kevin Harvick was like, dude, you are not supposed to say that. And he's got the dog situation figured out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just feel like this is all of a sudden the old DH11 is going to park it in the Final Four, and here we're going to be sitting. He's going to have a shot there at the last race there in Phoenix. So I don't know. That's what my gut was speaking to me the other day. So
I do. You know what? We should check here real quick. Okay, all of our championship 4 picks are still alive.
Well,
I had to double check that.
My champion made it in on Monday. Oh man. Yeah, I was in trouble there when Reddick and Logano were racing hard for positions because that was my champ and one of my Final Four picks.
One of them was going to get out.
Yep.
I can't say anything. Mine as well.
Yeah. So, well, we'll have to repost our championship 4 picks on the old X machine. Just kind of see where we're updated with that. Well, that wraps up the 55th edition, the double nickel edition of the Tuesday Track Talk podcast. Again, as always, we appreciate any likes, comments. Make sure you hit the bell to see any of the racing content from the season come out. And then as always, if you want to listen on the go, go ahead and grab us on the go on any platform that your favorite would be. But grab them on the go, like, listen, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you all next week.